Hey, Jonathan here. Let's set up our workspace and export our first box as we learn the foundations of Rhino 7. Let's do it. Opening Rhino for the first time, it should look something like this. It's always good practice to straight away save it, Command S, File, Save, and save something somewhere. Very important. Now, for the real beginners who don't want to get confused right now, they can skip to the first cube part. For others among you who would like to tweak a couple of small things in Rhino so that you are more comfortable, just keep listening. So let's go to the essential for architecture. Leave it as it is. Since I have a lot of courses in different softwares, this is usually where I change everything up so that it really matches what we as design architects need to be able to let technology support our design process. But Rhino, it's excellent the way it is. We don't need to do anything else. Let's keep going. And then we're going to configure special perks. Number 1, let's change the units. For that, we're going to go to File, Settings. We're going to get a small window like this. And at the end of it, we should see Units. When we go to Units, we have our model units, meters. Now, let's make sure that the tolerances are set to 0,0001. This is an excellent trick that I got over the years, which allows for more precise modeling operations when using Boolean operations, which we do a lot. So it's a good idea to have this like this. This right here is exactly the differences between the different templates changing from small to larger objects. Now for us architects, even though we're working with large objects, we also need specific tolerances to work. So this is a small tweak that goes a long way for us to be able to work freely. Next up, let's set up our mouse behavior. For that, we're going to go to the Rhino menu, then go to Preferences. In Windows, you get here like this. Let's show a screenshot. Then we're going to go, we select Preferences, yes. Let's select the Mouse tab, this one right here. And here you can adjust the setting as needed. For example, middle mouse button, you can set to do a specific thing. You can set it to do a menu. You can set it up to run a specific macro. You can also set it up to manipulate a view in a specific way. For example, users for example, if you come from ArchiCAD, in this case, you can put here pan, because this is the normal mouse behavior in ArchiCAD, which is the middle mouse. When you click on it, you're going to get a pan behavior on the viewport. For example, click and drag if you want to allow that or not. You can also set another behavior for the right mouse button. For example, if you want to enable a context menu. This is a great addition. For example, if you want to right click to do different things. For example, if you right click straight away do something, then it's going to pan it. But if you right click and wait for 30 milliseconds, it's gonna pop up the context menu. And this is something that you can set up here. If you want it or not, it's completely up to you. The mouse group select is if you want to select from one edge or the other edge, as we saw before, then you can set it up here. You can also get specific buttons if you have a special mouse, or if you have the screen edges, if you want to do something specific, or in case you have a magic mouse, it's a great idea to make sure that you know where this setup is here so that you can tweak it around until you feel comfortable. Now, it is important the interface to feel natural to you so that you can better interact with the model. Remember that you are modeling as if you were doing it by hand. So it's crucial for you to be comfortable. And this is a great way to go very far on this. Next up, let's do our first cube. Now, Rhino is everything is 3D. And as we said before, there are many ways to do the same thing in Rhino. For that, I'm going to exemplify this by doing our first cube essentially in two different ways. One is going to be through lines, and another one is going to be through a solid command. So let's start and get to know a couple of commands as we go along. Let's start with rectangle. Now we're going to model a cube using lines. So let's start with the command rectangle. We type in rectangle. Then it asks you for a first corner. Remember, for example, here I can either click, or for example, I can set up a coordinate, for example, 0, 0, enter. And that's going to lock my first point in the coordinate 0.0. The second point can be a click, or it could be another coordinate, for example, 100, 0. Or you can make use of the command line and tell it, no, you know what? I want to do a 3-point definition. Let's click on it. And here I'm going to set up a second point anywhere I want. Or for example, 100, 0, enter. And then the third point is going to be the one that defines this first rectangle. Let's click on it and notice how we have now created 4 lines. Now those lines are not a cube yet. For that, we need to extrude them. So fittingly, we're going to start the command that's called extrude curve. Enter. Now again, we check what the command wants us to do. Select curves to extrude. We select the curves we want to extrude. Then press enter when done. Now the mouse starts acting as it's showing you what it wants to do depending on where you want to click. Now there are different ways and there are different sub options for this, which we should check out on the left side. Let's look at this. The first question is what the output should be. Should it be a surface or should it be a sub D? We're going to have a whole different course about sub Ds. So every time you see that, just ignore it. Let's keep going. You can also set up, for example, the direction. Now we're extruding in this direction. But if you play around with direction, you will find that you can extrude in a diagonal direction. You can also click on both sides, for example, and it's going to go up and down. And you can also click on solid, which is advisable so that we can 3D print this. And you can also delete the input, which is something I usually recommend so that we get rid of that first rectangle that we did. By the end of this, we can give up a specific value, for example, 25 meters, enter, and that is going to be a 100 by 100 by 25 meter cube. There's another way to do the same exact cube, and that we're going to use a command that's more solid based via primitive, as I like to call it. And this is a command called box, B-O-X in your keyboard, enter. That's the box command that has started. So good practice. Let's go and check out what Rhino wants us to do. The first corner of the base. Again, we can either click somewhere here, or click somewhere there. Let's do it with the right view, just so that you see what's going to happen in the perspective. I click on the right view once, move the mouse, and notice how it's being drawn directly on a face, on a side face. I can also complete this command inside of the perspective. Makes Rhino incredibly powerful. Let's click for a second time in the right view, and then it's going to ask the height. Now the height is going to work the same way as before. We're just going to go and click, we want it up all the way until here, and that's it. Now we have a cube. Now notice how you thought you knew where this cube was, but it's not where you thought, and that is exactly why we always need 4 views in Rhino. Let me pan here and notice where this cube has landed. That is why it's crucial for us to always keep in mind all 4 viewports at the same time. Now, if you want to know more about 100 different ways of doing a cube, I cannot recommend you this video enough by Lucas Nadle, which you can see here in the video. And I'm actually going to put a link down below so that you can explore thoroughly, if you want to, of course. There's like, I don't know, he has like 25 different ways of doing the exact same cube, very methodically, one by one. We will learn in our courses almost all of these commands, but I just thought to mention that it's really nice to watch the different ways that he found out a way to do the same cube. So check that out if you want. Next up, and last for this one, it's going to be how do we export this particular object as an STL to be 3D printed. So first up is we're going to select it. Then we're going to start the command that's called export, enter. Then make sure that you select the type of this file as ST. We'll go downwards. We scroll down all the way down until we find STL. Here it is, stereolithography, and then we say export, export, and export. That's it. Now you should be able to find that 3D version of that particular cube and be able to 3D print it. That's it. See you in the next one.